Got something in mind.
Hey, it is me, Wanda B, and you are listening to the sound of love, wine. I love Frankie Parker. Pick up that song. Get us in there. He said, she said on IntellectualRadio.com. We are an iHeart radio station. So if you're looking on Facebook, please share the broadcast. Like it, share it. I appreciate you so much. And you can also join in the conversation by just chiming on in, and we'll try to bring your opinions and questions into the conversation. So I appreciate you so much. And if you're listening on YouTube, on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeart, we appreciate you always. I want to give a very special thank you to my sponsors. My lipstick is Runway Red from MorteCosmetics.com. Morte Cosmetics, please check them out. I love them. They are you know what, I mentioned the other makeup I have on, but because I don't know if I apply it properly, I know my lipstick's on right, so I'm only going to, but they have all makeup. So Morte, Maurte Cosmetics.com. Check them out. My clothes are provided by Giovanni Jolie at 11614 South Marshfield in Chicago. So check them out. They have all sizes. You'll love them. And then MJ Liquors at 9914 West Roosevelt Road, at a liquor store here in Broadview. So check them out as well. And then my family, my Intellectual Radio family, pass me the cake here on the table. I want you, and everybody I'm mentioning today are also Black-owned businesses, so check them out. Bowie Sweet Treats, Helen Bowie, look at this cake. I mean, we have some German chocolate cake here. I want you to please, cookies, she'll deliver them too. Cookies, their number is 630-930-2326, 630-930-2326, Bowie Sweet Treats at yahoo.com. Please check them out. Of our sponsors, I use everything, eat everything, try everything that I mentioned on this show. And if you'd like to be a sponsor, you can contact me, Wanda B, on Facebook, and we can do something with you. But please try her cakes, cookies, and all her sweet treats. Valencia, hey. So today I have with me my team. I love all of y'all looking too on Facebook, everybody listening. And so I'm going to go ahead and introduce them. I have James Borshade, who is the certified life coach for He Said, She Said. Hey, James.
How's everybody doing?
All right.
Everybody doing? Glad to be here.
Oh, Kara, what is your label? What did we say you were? The woman's, you don't want to say that out loud. We won't say that then. Oh, Kara Hollis. He has a nickname. We won't say what it is.
Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody.
Beautiful Valencia. Hello, honey.
Hey, hon.
All right. So we have some hot topics today. I have a group, He Said, She Said, on Facebook, and I would love for you to join the group. Some of the conversations we have here on the show, we have during the week. So it goes down. We really give our opinions, our knowledge, our thoughts. We share them all during the week. And the whole goal is to try to have healthier relationships between men and women. And so that's where the concept came from, that the he's give their opinions, the she's give theirs, and maybe we can learn something from the opposite sex and maybe just have better relationships because of that. So some of the hot topics that came up, or what I thought was kind of hot, what just kept going on, is what people really get upset about, worked up about, is child support. Woo, baby. What a topic. My goodness. I think that got posted earlier in the week, and they've been talking about it for the rest of the week.
Probably a new comment now.
It's probably a new comment right now. So how it came up is, if you're given a certain amount, and I won't say what that necessarily is, but if you're given a certain amount, I think in this post it was $700, and a party came up, and I know women also pay child support, so I'm going to talk about it from both perspectives, sort of, even though probably more men are paying. But if you should ask for more than what you're given. So if you have child support, should you try to support your child within the dollar amount you are given for your child, and ask for no more than what is given? And it seems like the big consensus is you better try to work it out with the amount you're given, no matter what it is. And I don't know. I don't know how a certain kind of way I choose to do something different with my life, only because I don't kind of believe in the courts being in anyone's paychecks and taking out of their paychecks, but that's my own personal belief, so I do something different. But what do you guys feel? I know you guys are in the group and read some of the comments. What do you think on that topic? Should you stay within what you're given, what that is?
I'm not gonna answer this question as a certified life coach. I'm gonna answer this question
as James Borshay,
as
please.
James Borshay, father who has full custody of his children.
Oh, okay. Do you receive child support?
No.
Oh, that's not fair.
I don't. But that's a whole nother
topic. I know there's so many dynamics to
child support you give is not going to cover the cost of those children. And I used to think the other way around as a man who, okay, I can pay child support. It's not going to cover the cost of kids. Especially, you would think as they get older, they get cheaper, but that is absolutely the opposite from the truth. As they get older, they get a lot more expensive. People pay child support, and they don't even cover the kids' allowance. And so I'm a different. I have a difference of opinion than some of the people in the group. If you're giving amount of child support and a child's birthday is coming up, I do think that should be a split between the two of you. You all should talk. You all should work it out. It should work between your means.
I agree. I was pretty shocked at a lot of the responses in the group because the post said nothing more than the amount and at a birthday party. And we went to talking about if it was affordable. We don't know that man's situation. And we threw in the girl be misusing the $700. Like, it was very few men that said yes. And I agree that, yes, he should. But I do understand, and I expressed it on the post. I understand there are some women that will try to go out and plan $1,000 party without your input, and the girl is too, but they want her to come in on a horse and stuff, and they do too much. And so with that, then there's a discretion still. If they want to do that, give what you're going to give and let her put the rest if she wants to do that. But to just say no because you are given a court order that says a certain dollar amount, and then I flipped it, and no one touched it. The people who had something to say about no one touched it, I flipped the scenario. That same court order said you can only see your children these days at these times, but you want to see your children outside of those times. You're not sticking to that. When you talk about the time, you want the mom, and then if the mom doesn't allow you, we call her petty. We say she's drama. She's trying to block a bond. So you can't have it both ways.
So, kind of similar to him in the sense that I have a child and I have her the majority of the time. Like, I have her during the week and her mom has her on the weekends. And it's not a court order thing. It was agreement between me and the mother. So
you have her the majority of the time, you said? Yeah,
I have her during the week.
Do you receive child support? Okay.
So I'm in agreement with him. When you have a child, unless you are a celebrity and you are paying $13,000, $25,000, whatever amount of money you might be paying a month, not really going to cover most of the stuff. And I'm actually, my daughter is 3, so my daughter is cheap right now. Because as she gets older, I'm going to plan on putting her into more activities and all of that stuff. And I talk to fathers all the time who have kids in activities or whatever, and that stuff can be expensive. So I think that obviously if somebody is having a party, the party probably should be within reason of the means of the people, of the parents. But if you $100 a month and your child wants to have a party or somebody wants to have, I think you should put in on that. If not equal, give something considering how much or whatever the person is trying to spend. Like if she's trying to do something
like she was describing, that's kind of, ridiculous for a 2-year-old, then, you give whatever you're going to give and, let her deal with it. But if it's something reasonable, you go half. It's your child. I don't understand the mentality behind, I'm just giving this, now leave me alone. But, I guess to each his own.
What I hear from both of you, one thing that helps you see it the other way is that you actually have majority custody of your child, so you see what you're spending, and exactly. So now you've actually felt it. I think some people on the outside, and they're seeing their children every other weekend, don't see the daily things that come up, the lunch monies of this. Can I have the field trip money? Can I have the money for this? They don't hear the questions the children are asking for money on a daily basis, so they're not connected to that. They only hear party time when the phone call comes for, and you don't go back and forth and call and say, he needed money for picture day and it's $30 for pictures, and he needed money for his camp, and that's $200. And we were in Walmart and he saw a shirt and some Skittles. I got that. It adds up. Yeah, right. So
it definitely does.
Guys maybe are on the other foot and see it. But what's interesting to me is that you guys don't receive. That is so unfair on the opposite side, that if you have majority custody, that you don't receive child support. Am I wrong to think that men should get child support?
No, you're not wrong to think that they should get it, but I want to make it clear that just because there are so many women that go, there are just as many women that make the choice not to go to child support. And I think those women don't get due credit to them a lot for choosing to, because he has an agreement. He has somebody, they have people out here, they're making agreements. So some women out here are making some agreements in the best interest of their child. So, but is it unfair for men to not receive it? Absolutely.
It's not unfair for me. I don't think it's unfair for me. It's not. I don't look at it like that. It's the best situation that we decided on. Believe me, I would do it every time to have my child the majority of the time. So it's not anything that I was asking for, or I expected, or that I wanted, or that anything that she said she wouldn't do. So when she have her, she spends money on her. When I have her, I spend money on her. So
that's healthy. Honestly, I think that's probably the healthy way, that you do what's best for your family, for that you consider each other still being family, and that you do what's best for you guys all the way around. That it doesn't have to be this, if you don't expect it, you understand. I have an older child from when I was married, and I never got child support, but I feel it was the best. I wanted him to see his father. It wasn't tied to money. It wasn't, I wanted his father to be a part of his life. If the money, I could live without a certain amount of money. I knew I would make ends meet and be okay with my child. So I get that, and I totally understand it. And I think, I wish always come down to money in this, when we all put our children first.
Truly first. Yeah.
It's interesting. I was looking at this article, and it was some lawyers or whatever, and they were talking about like the petty stuff that they have seen in child court.
Oh yeah.
And they were, in some of the stories, were just shocking. So I'm seriously, I am just glad that, I don't have to go through anything like that.
Well, I think that's great. Because who wins in the end is going to be the child. People can fight over these, but the only people we hurt is our children. We don't hurt each other. We usually don't even, half the time, they don't even like each other. They're just doing things to spite each other. And they're not going to walk away hurt. But the child is going to be hurt. They don't even understand some of the things that are going on between their parents. They just want to be happy, and
only the children lose. Only the children lose in that scenario. And if you break down the numbers, and that's a tough thing for the non-custodial parent to do, whether it's the male or the female. If you actually break down the numbers, you are getting away with highway murder by not completely supporting your child. So let's just use the arbitrary number of, I give $500 a month. Let's just say you give $500 a month. If you have an infant, who's in daycare, they're usually around $250 a week for child care.
Mm-hmm.
So your $500 a month doesn't even cover child care.
Doesn't let her go to work, right?
Doesn't let it, right? Exactly. So let's just say you got a teenager and you give $500 a month. If you got a son, I have 2 sons. If you got a son like I do who eat like a linebacker, your $500 a month don't cover groceries.
2 of those.
You get what I'm saying? So if you really do the numbers soberly, you realize you are getting
without a drink. Why you gotta be sober to figure that out? So you won't do that new math. So you stop doing that new math.
So you ain't doing Hennessy.
Yeah, stop doing that new math. And you won't think she'll be able to pull out the birthday party, pay the bills, the lights, the gas, daycare out of $700 a month.
People think the non-custodial parent is partying with your and let me in the spirit of full transparency. Daughter, when I was 17 years old. And so I paid child support for my daughter. And when
a child, do you even have a job at 16? You paid child support at that age?
I had to stop playing sports and go get a job.
Wow.
My dad, the day I told my father that my girlfriend at the time was pregnant, 2:00 in the morning, he was sitting on my bed. And he scared the mess out of me. I woke up, and I got a Nigerian dad. I woke up and he said with his accent, "What are you still doing sleep?" You get the crust out of your eyes and you look at the clock like it's 4:00 in the morning. What are you awake for? You need to go get a job. Like there ain't nothing open right now. How am I gonna get there? This is a real conversation. How am I gonna get there? You have to walk. So I walked from 103rd in Torrance to 87th and State. And I got a job at 87th and State at Goldblatt's when it was over there. And that was my first job to take care of my daughter. And the little money I was paying in child support, I was asking for receipts. You see how ridiculous that sounds?
Oh, yeah.
What you doing with the money? I saw you went and got it was dumb. Back on and I'm like, oh my God.
But there's still people doing that. I mean,
oh yeah, they still doing it.
Yeah, they are.
And they not even 20.
I grew up in that. I mean, single mom. My father didn't give a whole lot, and I remember, I was the baby, so I would go grocery shopping. We would be, and she would be at Aldi's spending like $200, $300.
Yeah.
And that was back when Aldi's was cheap. So it was real cheap, right? So it was, $200, $300, and we would go through the food in the first 3 days.
Yes.
And she would be like, you guys can go through this food all you want to, but I'm telling you, I'm not buying nothing to the next pay period. And it was the next pay period was like 2 weeks or whatever, right? So I saw it. It was me and 2 other boys. We all growing. We used to kill it. I remember we would go through the cookies, boy, in like a day and a half. And that was supposed to be lunch food too.
Yeah, the snacks be done.
Done. Over.
I tell you, I got two linebackers that they eat like the food will be gone tomorrow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? My gosh, they eat like that, like we're not bringing any more groceries ever again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
You know what? You've been listening to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. We're going to take a quick break. So we're going to listen to some sounds of Peace, Love, and Wine by Frankie Parker.
Got something in mind for you and I tonight. Close your eyes for your surprise tonight. Candlelight, romantic heights tonight. What's inside?
Hey, it's me, Wanda B. And you're listening to the sounds of Peace, Love, and Wine. We've been talking about some hot topics here on He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. We've been going over some topics that we had in our group, He Said, She Said on Facebook. Again, I want to send a big shout out to 30 and Up Doing Us. They're a group on Facebook as well. One of our partners. I so appreciate them. Tyson Smith, a funny comedian. You got to check him out because he's all around Chicago. Very funny guy. So I appreciate you guys. Please share the broadcast. I know I have two kind of broadcasts going on here on Facebook. So the second one, please join in. I'm going to try to streamline things because I love to have your input on what we're talking about today, and we'll get into one of our topics. So delete this. Okay, guys, so what we like to talk about, we have James Borshay with us. He is the certified life coach for He Said, She Said. And a lot of times people say, will send things in the inbox of He Said, She Said and say, can you ask this? I want to know about this. So a lot of times I say, well, you know what? I don't know about that. I'm going to have to ask somebody else. I don't tend to call myself an expert on many topics, but I definitely have an opinion. But I like to bring in the people who are experts on these topics and know how to give you some sound advice. So one thing that has come up is how to love a woman during difficult times, because so many things come up. Wait, you gonna take a deep breath? Woosah. Take a woosah for us, James, before we get started in this. Lord. I was trying to think, like, what are some difficult times? Like, what would you say are difficult times for women? Yes, define difficult times.
Yeah, it's a difficult times for both.
So some people might need to address both of these. How to love a woman when she is in distress, or how to love a woman when you all are experiencing difficult times together. Mm-hmm. We can address, I think we should address both of them. Which one would you like to talk about first?
The difficult times together, or when
difficult times together?
Difficult times together when the two of you are at odds?
No, it don't have to be.
Or when you all are experiencing, let's just say
difficult
example, financial difficulties.
At odds.
Yeah, it
or you know, I guess it doesn't have to be fighting, but it could. There's some strife.
But tension comes out of it all. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Another woosah moment. As your woosah, guys, I also want you to check out Journey to Wholeness Center. They are located at 9501 New England in Oak Lawn. JourneyToWholeness.org, 708-634-3664. In case topics, and also you can get a hold of James. James will tell you how to get a hold of him at the end of the show if you'd like to further your conversation with James and his opinion. I know I use him all the time. I love me some James. So anyway, here we go. So what is the difficult times? So your woosah's over, James?
Yeah, my woosah's over.
Okay.
So the first one we're talking about is when you two are sort of at odds. Well, the first thing is, we as men, we cannot take it personal. And that is the hardest thing on the planet to do. We cannot take what you say personal, but sometimes what you say is personal. You hear what I'm saying? So the number one, we cannot take it personal. And number two, there's a technique that I share with people I coach called hug the porcupine. And that is so hard. And it hurts. But just imagine putting your arms around a porcupine with their spikes out. That is literally what you have to do in that instance, hugging the porcupine. And it hurts. So those are two that I will start with, and then we'll get into a deeper discussion. Well, you brought up the big guns.
I just started with it, right? I was like, let's go for it. We got 2 hours here on IntellectualRadio.com. We're going to use all of the big guns, the hot topics, the things we need.
Times, yeah. I would say number one, again, not take it personal. Not take it personal.
But when someone says something personal, it's kind of hard not to take it personal. I mean, I've had someone say something and you go, ouch. And then you try to think, well, because where is that coming from? It's easy to say, don't take it personal. But if you're saying something personal about me, how else am I supposed to take it?
It is not easy to say, don't take it personal. Not easy to say, don't take it personal, but you can't. Studies show, research shows that what puts a woman in distress most often is fear. And when you all react afraid, there is literally no telling what you'll say. literally no telling. And we have to be taught, we meaning men, have to be taught how to identify when you all are in distress.
Absolutely.
Versus when you all don't like us. You say comes from distress. Like she is fearful of something. And if we can just find out what that is, then we can actually address helping you feel secure in whatever area that is. Because until you feel secure, nothing else is going to get done.
This is not I'm going to say how I feel, and I'm sorry, this is no bash against men whatsoever, but I don't think many men know how to get, I don't know with the men. I haven't experienced a man that knows how to try to get to what your fear is or to make you secure. Well, how do they get that language and that knowledge? Where does that come from if they're not trained to do it?
That comes from coaching and learning women. It is a non-ending study. Seriously, you have to learn the woman you're with, and that is difficult to do if you take stuff personal. If you as a man is insecure, woman is fearful, you are both in trouble. A man confident in who you are, and she is fearful, you can move past the darts that are thrown at you and then deal with her insecurity. Because again, most of the time, what you all are coming from is fear. And if we don't address the fear and we just get past and just move on and start smiling again, it's going to come back because it was never really addressed. Mm-hmm. And we can get into, so now is the energy between men and women. So there's masculine energy, feminine energy. The feminine energy is sweet, is soft, it's gentle, it's loving, it's kind. The masculine energy is rigid. It is straightforward. It is to the point. It is by the book. It is logical. It is get to the result. Now, the masculine energy is designed to protect the feminine energy. All of us have it. Men and women have masculine and feminine energy. For men, the predominant energy is supposed to be masculine. For women, the predominant energy is supposed to be feminine. It is a really quick way to tell if your woman is in distress. And this is it's easier said than done. If your woman is displaying masculine energy.
Strange behavior.
Masculine energy, if she's rigid, to the point, hard, and you're not seeing sweet, soft, sensual, gentle, kind, she's in distress about something. And it usually comes from fear. She's afraid of something, whether it is she's afraid you don't love her, whether it is she's afraid we ain't gonna make the bills.
Yep.
Well, and I don't want to categorize all women as being fearful, but if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we as humans need security on certain levels. And when you don't have it, when women don't have it, you address it very differently. When women don't have security in whatever area, they start talking. When men don't have security in certain areas, we're quiet. And you take our silence as lack of care, lack of concern, and those types of things. And we're just quiet because we internalize and think we're not going to say a word until we have a well thought out, what we believe to be a well thought out answer. And you all are going to actually think your answers through while you're talking. And that's a humongous difference. So if your woman is displaying masculine energy, she is to the point, rigid, something's up. That is really, really hard to do because some women love to throw darts during the times when they're in distress. And I ain't saying no names, but I really hope they listen.
That was funny. Tucson said, thank you everybody who's watching on Facebook. Jeffrey Love, hello. James Smith, Tank Corner, Howard Rivers, Grammar School, St. Margaret of Scotland. Hey, Tucson said, hell, that's a black existence. Hence, we have to change the narrative of value. And then he's gonna say that's every black woman. don't know about that. Probably so.
I
think
kind of
you
feel
have
like that's
some-
everybody. I
Everybody.
think it's everybody, a male or female. I think that's one thing that we have an issue with men actually saying that they have those fears. And they have the same thing, fears of abandonment, fears of things, and it comes out in those same ways. And so what I've been learning too is that, and it's similar, but it's been strange behavior. So when you tend to see strange behavior from your mate, take a moment and find out what's going on, because something is going on, but we like to label it something else because that's a defense mechanism. We want to label it something else, and we turn it around so that's something that's wrong with that person. Then we begin to throw those words out: insecure, impatient, things that
You better speak on that.
certain people will then, that begins to make you wilt away from standing your ground, or the request that you want, or the respect that you're demanding, or any of those things. And so absolutely love your explanation. I can totally relate, and glad that I can relate to it, the healthy side of that.
People don't realize that men and women are the same. A woman is a man with a womb. If you realize that you are a man with a woman, you all have the same feelings that we have, but we all go about displaying those feelings very differently. I think I have heard a lot of people that I talk to say they don't even know their men feel certain kind of ways, and I'm like, you are in a relationship with a human. This person is a human, so of course they feel certain kind of ways.
I think what's hard for me, I hear you, I know they feel a certain way, but it's kind of hard to tell a man, from my opinion, some, not all of y'all. Don't say I don't do that. Okay, you don't, but some. You can't to tell their emotions or that they're feeling something. If they don't share it, they don't necessarily show it. So how do you know that?
This is how you can. I'm so glad you asked that, because that's a hot topic for me. This is how you can tell when your man is in distress. When your man goes silent, something's wrong. Men don't go silent to punish you. So please take that out of your vocabulary and get that out of your head. That is not what we do. If a woman goes silent, she might be trying to punish you. Men go silent because that is how we think. That is how we process information. We process data, one subject, one box at a time. And until we have completely thought this thing through, we don't have anything to say. And we also go silent when we are looking for another way to say the same thing to you. Right to say. That's when men go silent. So if your man is silent, it is not because he is mad at you. It is not because he is not masculine. It is because he is in distress. He is thinking. There is something he needs to work through. See what's going on Facebook right now.
Well, let's tell you. So Stephanie Roberts said men like to label women as bipolar. Tucson said the words still apply, though. If God is real and love exists, fear can't occupy the same space. Most people.
But that's a textbook response, Tucson. I love you though, but that's textbook response, because the reality is that fear happens. It's what you do with fear, whether or not you can say the existence of God is there. So I think, we making that too broad of a statement. And so there's fear. Everybody has it. It's I think one of the main components here is really what we're talking about is being in tune with your mate. And I believe when a man really is in tune with his mate, hence comes the ability to identify that she's acting strange. And and this is the connection that I had from James just saying it. When he knows that he is being the man that he needs to be for this woman, he's now confused as to this behavior. But when you know that you're not on your stuff, you're not confused why she's saying what she's saying to you. You just need to make this twist this around because we don't want to deal with the real issue of what he may be lacking. And what he may be lacking doesn't necessarily mean it's something he did himself. It could be a situation. And sometimes men will take a situation lacking, and this is what I would like for like a little more in distress situation to be explained a little bit more from you, James, is when these distress situations and you see the memes that say, oh, you know, if the girl was down, she would have never left when he was down. And I hate that meme because it stops, because what really happens when a man is down, how he acts, how he's giving off now. Is he bringing you down while he's down? Is he rebuilding? So, you know, what's going on when so many men, when they are down, that they give off this evilness and expect the woman to hang in there while they down.
So one of the things that people, when they get together, they think that they are going to be in it for the long haul, is to write down whatever their like insecurities are, write down like whatever their fears are, write down like, you know, like describe themselves, you know, like I'm trustworthy and whatever, you know, just kind of write it down. And then also write down how your insecurities manifest themselves into, you know, in your daily life. Like if you're arguing or if you're, you know, afraid of something, how that shows. And then, you know, once you do that, you know, give all of that to your partner, so y'all can have a different understanding of each other. And maybe you can recognize that during times of distress, because one of the hardest things to do is to sit there and take punches and not swing back. Yes. As people, when you are in relationships, management, being able to manage your emotions is the difficult thing, because we can sit up here and we can say, you know, like, why do people do this, or why do men act like this, or why? The reason is because we all have fears, because we all come from things, you know, that may not be so pleasant, and it manifests itself in arguments or times of distress. And so we can say, why do men do this? But they hurt too. And so we have to like be able to take that in consideration. And one of the things is that if you sit there and you not only the man observes the woman, but the woman observes the man, and you know, we share knowledge instead of one person having to have all the knowledge and one person having to be the understanding one. It has to be done. Because one of the things is that, I mean, I've been in situations, you know, I studied the whole relationship stuff or whatever, and it's times when I've been in heated conversations, the only thing that I can say that has not made me go as far as I wanted to go was because of the fact that I studied it, and I had to say to myself, like, there is this book, and it's called Four Agreements. And one of the things is don't take it personal. And it talks about how, you know, everything that everybody does is about them. And it's about what they have experienced and their perspective on life, you know. And when you can kind of go back to that or kind of realize that in the argument or in a moment of distress with your partner, you know, maybe you can calm yourself down and then, you know, and try to get to the bottom of it. But if both people are not doing that, you know, and you're just sitting there taking punches and taking punches and taking punches, and you don't have the understanding from the other person, eventually you might just punch back. You just, you know, it has to be a healing. It has to be something from both parties. You know, one person can initiate it, but even after the initial, you know, it needs to be something that is shared. It can't just be one person knowing all. It has to be something that's shared between the two, because you have to act like you want to be with the person tomorrow.
Yes.
Even in the argument.
That was deep. Like you want to be with the person tomorrow.
Let me bring up this one comment, and then let's go into the acting like you want to be with each other tomorrow. James T. Smith said, men and women fight differently. Women fight to be heard to win the argument, but men fight to destroy. So with that comment, if you're fighting to destroy, do you act like you want to be with the person tomorrow? If you are trying to destroy them, or if you're just trying to win an argument?
But think about, I'll take what he said a step further, and I want to share why I actually got into life coaching. Men do fight to destroy. That's why we don't want to fight you back. That's why we don't want to fight you back, because we fight to destroy. There isn't a man alive, phrase that, there isn't a man that I know alive that if he actually went off on his woman could not destroy her. There is not one. That's the reason that we don't want it. When you all start going off on your man and your man gets quiet, it is because he is in a mental conundrum. All the instincts in him is saying fight back. But all the logic in him is saying, don't fight back. And so he literally is going mentally schizophrenic, because we want to say, well, we know we can't say because we want to be with you tomorrow. Now, I got into this business of life coaching and relationship coaching because I realized women don't know men and women. And I'm not just talking about you knowing your spouse. We don't know how the other party is designed to operate. And so we get frustrated with male A is malfunctioning, but if you did the exact same thing to 10 men, they would all respond the exact same way. This is why oftentimes men and women end up having the exact same problem in every relationship they go to, because you do not understand the kind of person, you do not understand the other party. You don't understand men, or you don't understand women. Mm-hmm. And so I got in this business to help women understand men and to learn how to understand women. You see how I didn't say I'm trying to help men understand. I'm still learning how to understand women.
You know, one of the things I always say about dating is that you are in the dating field and you meet women is kind of the same as when you are a little boy on the playground with a bunch of other little boys and you are kind of fighting to see who's going to be the alpha male. And the thing is that I would always say is that, look, men, we do not want to do that dance with women.
No.
You know, and one of the things is that, like, as little boys, you know, we compete with other boys as far as, like, you know, play fighting, wrestling, you know, sports or whatever, and do that dance or whatever. And when you have a woman in front of you and, you know, it is an adversarial situation, do that because I don't expect that type of dance with you. I expect that type of dance with him,
with a guy,
you know, with him, you know, or a guy or whatever. So it's kind of like
that masculine energy,
right?
Yes.
It's kind of like, right. It's kind of like you sit there and you like, my best option right now is to be quiet. I know if I go, then I go hard. And yes. I think a lot of times when we see men who go too hard, whether it be, you know, real serious abuse and things of those natures, is that they don't have that filter. They don't stop themselves. They don't have that, you know, that type of thing. But guys, it's like you sit there and you have somebody coming at you and you know that there's a couple of words that I could say to you right now that will destroy you, that will really hurt your feelings. And you don't want to do it. And so you just go quiet. And that's and women take silence as like an insult or but
you don't want to talk or
right.
But it can be used. Let's not say every time that it
listen,
is.
We're not saying every single time. That's not the point. The point is that most of the time it's because we're trying not to go too far.
Yes. Please know this. I need you to understand this about men. We don't use silence as a weapon. That isn't, and I know a lot of women who think that. Please delete that from your thought process for men. We don't use silence as a weapon. That is a tool you all use as a weapon. We do not do that. Believe me. So if we are silent, it is because we have no words that will make the situation better. We don't want to fight with you. We don't want to argue with you. We don't want to struggle with you. We do not want to do that. If we care about you in the least bit, our silence is not a weapon. Our silence is a tool, is actually a sign of strength. Could say, we don't say, because it's not going to help. It's not going to help. And so when a man goes silent, it is because he is literally out of words.
Well, for a woman, we like feedback. We want to know, are you listening? Did you hear what I said? Like you said, I think we kind of want to be heard. And if you're silent, we don't know whether you have told. We don't know what you're thinking. Now we know. I hear you now, and I will receive that for the future. But in the past, and how most people see this, as your silence is not caring, your silence is not hearing, your silence is not paying attention, you're not acknowledging anything I'm saying. So I don't know what you think, and take it as a sign of not caring.
Well, I want to say, Wanda, I think too, is that usually when we're in those situations, something has happened. Okay, so women view your silence as to something that I'm asking that normally, if we're the ones yapping, we view it as he has done something. So we're questioning something that you've done that has hurt me, that has caused fear, that either the bills are not going to get paid, you turned down this job. We need to talk about this, right? And you have given me your reason. And so now you don't want to give me any more reasons. And I think women, we take that as you just like, okay, I just gave you my explanation. That's it. It's over. It's like you called it over when I haven't really gotten the satisfaction. So I think that's where when we're having a disconnect, that it's not used. It's kind of almost saying, that's what I'm saying, how women take that. And so, and I think it's necessary for us to say so that the women know that we are expressing what we feel in those moments. We are learning that it's a safety shield for us out of love, but yeah, it doesn't feel that way.
Lord Jesus Christ, James T. Smith, man, you are hitting some important topics. Listen, understand everything you're saying. And oftentimes the reason that this stuff really, really bothers you and you go harder at a man, it is because you oftentimes, and I'm going with the people that I have coached and work with, they have never seen a man interact with a woman successfully or been raised in that home. So they don't have the expectations that they have for their men are oftentimes completely unrealistic. You're often asking your man to respond like your girlfriend will respond. And we are not your girlfriends. We are never.
What does that mean?
It means we're different.
I mean, she knows you're not a girlfriend.
I'm gonna break that down. Give me a response. I'm looking for that's a girlfriend response.
So when you come hard at your man, like, why you turn this job down? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? A girlfriend would have, girl, I was thinking this, and girl, let me tell you what and the man ain't doing none of that.
Okay.
When you come like that with us, what you have done is you have taken off, put on masculine energy, and started, and basically this is what we see. You squared up. So we are confused because we want to square up with you, but we can't do that. And so oftentimes we want to exit stage left as fast as we can, because what we want to say, we cannot say.
And
what does feminine energy look like? Go ahead.
I'll tell you.
The thing is that, all right, so whenever you have situations like that, and she said, she asked a question, and then he gave a reason or whatever, and then he wanted to stop, and then she felt like, it wasn't good enough, and so she kept coming. Is that if you ask me a question, I answered the question, that's the end of it for me. I answered it. Like, it's kind of like this. So I have this friend, she's a woman or whatever, and so she can tell me a story, right? And she can tell me the story, and she will tell me every single detail in the story that has nothing to do with the overall point. I'm like, just get to the point. And so a 15-minute conversation turns into a 45-minute conversation because she wants every little detail. And the reality is that is not how men express themselves. And so a lot of times we'll go into a discussion, and they will have a certain idea of what they want this to look like.
What they want their feedback
and
to
so,
sound
right.
like.
And they have an idea of what it is. And my idea is I'm just going to answer the question. And so you sit there and you ask the question, I answer the question, it's the answer. And then all of a sudden,
but where does the part come in where the man?
Okay, so listen, I'm gonna tell you just like I tell people who I have personally dealt with. So if you are the person communicating with somebody and you want certain answers or you want whatever, then it's up to you to communicate to them like they communicate. So for instance, yes. and I'll tell you why. So you don't see who want to get to the Black community go to B96 or go to ESPN 1000. They come to GCI. They go somewhere that's going to talk our language. So if you want to sit up here and you want to have a conversation about something, then you know what? If you really want me to respond and you want to get some, then talk to me like I like to talk. And be mad at me because I don't want to have a 3-hour conversation that I can have in 30 minutes when I got to go to bed at 4 a.m. I mean, I got to be up at 4:30 or 5. Yes, as anybody who knows me know this happened to me. So
I don't
there
know
you go.
But you preaching a lot of people's story. Now listen,
for real.
Listen. When a woman needs information, how she questions the man is how it will determine whether you get the information or not. Many people who I have worked with are not asking questions to get answers. They are asking questions to give you information. And so you as a man, you feel like you are on the stand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Go. And so you feel like what you need to do is Mirandize me, because I have not been told that whatever I say can and will be held against me. I'm telling you how men really think. So when you asking us questions, first of all, no man has a problem with answering your question.
No man.
No, listen to me. Hear me and hear me good.
Okay, I'm listening.
No man has a problem with answering your question. But when they answer your question and their answer is not what you want it to be, and you follow up with 10 other, I call them web questions, because you're trying to trap the man into the answer you're trying to get him to realize, that is not asking, that is not really questioning. That is using questions as a tool to get information to the guy. And men aren't stupid. And when we realize you're doing that, we think you're calling us stupid, which is why we disengage.
So give me a better example of what to do.
Because that's what I'm saying. Because it always sounds like in the end, the women's job is so hard that we have to figure out how to dance, run, coddle, jump, and flip, right? But you know, under the feminine umbrella. And we're supposed to do this.
I don't care what
I know what I'm saying is
please say what you want to say after this.
Please do, because what I'm going to say, because I have been getting aggravated quite a bit with quite a few subjects in the group, that it always seems that we turn it around to the woman's do this and that and make their environment this and that for the man, and where he can come and speak and talk and this and there has been nothing that says that when if because let's go back to the point made, you're a man, I'm a woman, I'm trying to tell you that okay, you it might be everything you're saying is true. I'm not saying nothing because I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna kill you because I'm a man and I know my strength and I know where I'm going. I'm not gonna do it. And I'm telling you as a woman then, and this is why I say comes from us not doing the work in the beginning. This is why I always go back to, because I don't see if we had the tools, but like Akira said here and said he read a book. Somebody out there say he's lame. You know, somebody say, let's go visit James before we start dating. Oh, that's you moving too serious. You doing too much. Come to the table. Read this book with me. Answer. It's 250 questions in here that they suggest we touch base. Nobody wants to do that work first. So what I'm saying is that we're here now and still, because if we don't start making that the message, then we'll be in this message, keep going back, because we're going back, and you guys we can't argue what you're saying as men, but what we're saying as women, what we're feeling, if we have a conversation, we need some closure, understanding. And it sounds like that it's okay for women to be put in the basket by men and say that when we're coming at you, because there's some women that go to their men calm dinners and say, let's have this, let's have in the middle of sex. They try all kinds of, everybody ain't coming rah, rah, rah. And that's when, and we still get the same reaction than if we had it came out.
Because
and so
you're talking to a man.
okay, but so what we're saying is, so now we're talking to a man, but so should we stand our ground and say, but I'm a woman? So where do we, in the middle of that, say, who's going to then recognize what the other person needs, and how do you get past that?
All right, so okay. All right, so I am in agreement with you when you say the message is always to women to somehow bend and duck and whatever for the essence of a man. I am in full agreement with you. It's the reason why sometimes I get actually frustrated with the whole relationship field in general, because everybody always come at women. On this one particular subject, the thing that I guess I disagreed initially with, but after listening to you finish, and when you made the point about not doing the work, yes, definitely men can be better at trying to empathize and realizing where women are coming from as far as the way that they communicate. We can do more of that. My only problem, or my only issue with that is that, and I would say it's always got to be a joint effort with this. Quite frankly, it becomes a waste of time if you don't just get to the point.
Yeah.
And sometimes when if you don't go straight and you go around, you end up not getting to the destination because you have gone around. And one of the things that I always like to try to communicate to women is that at some point you have to be able to apply some logic. And so what I mean by that is this. So let's just say for some reason, something I did made you feel a certain way. All right. The fact that you felt that way doesn't make it true. It just means right now you felt that way. So if you come to me and you express, well, this, that, and the other way, and then I say to you, hey, look, this is the explanation for that. That is not what I meant. This, that, and the other. At some point, it has to be able to make sense, and you have to come to yourself and say, okay, just because I felt that way in this sense, in this situation. But sometimes we don't get that. We don't get that just due. We don't get the logic attached to the emotion, and we continue to have to answer questions based on the emotion. And that is where it becomes frustrating. And that is when you sign out, because it's like, no matter what you say, if they felt a certain way, then that makes it true. And we can talk 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. But the reality is that my answer is still not going to change. And that is the thing that we try to communicate to you. And that's when we just shut up.
And we get that. But as women, and I was right there with you, but I think, and that's where where this is healthy conversation. And I'm going to say to this panel, I haven't really enjoyed like an ongoing, like really great conversation of us actually like getting some healthy stuff out there. So I appreciate this panel today. And you took it right up to the point where my woman came in, right? So I was picturing me and Okira in a conversation, right? And I'm hearing everything he's saying, but then right when you say that, when they do that, it's not necessarily that we're not accepting that it wasn't necessarily true. What we're looking for now is to become your priority and for you to make a decision with the actions that you did. Are you willing not to do that again because of the way it makes me feel? Or are you going to say, now that's coming from my insecurities, and then we're not going to deal with it, and it's a reoccurring issue? So there are some issues where I can say from a woman, yes, that could be the end of that. But for some women, depending on what we're discussing or what the issue is, now I need to know. That made me, case in point, I throw some real life stuff in there. Case in point, you have this best friend of yours who is being disrespectful, right? I'm telling you, when you interact with her and allow her to do A, B, and C, I feel disrespected and whatever. Now, if you tell me, oh, why, that wasn't my intent, that's been my friend since day one, A1, and then you want me to accept that, I'm looking for that not to be there. Now I'm looking for you to go back and handle your interaction with said person differently, because you value me more than her. And whether men think that's right or wrong, that's what women want. We want that number one value.
And just for the record, it would be taken care of if that was me.
Okay.
just for the record.
So let me go back. I want to acknowledge something that you said that really resonates with me, and it really resonates with me. A lot of relationship advice is catered towards women bending over backwards to accommodate the way men feel, think, act. When I coach, I am not coaching to make you bend. I am coaching to give information how the other party operates, so that if you see what is normal male behavior, it does not offend you. The other side of that, though, is men too have no idea and have not taken the time to truly understand women whatsoever, or their role as men in a woman's life. So, and I'll give you an example. Oh man, I'm doing this Bible study now from Dr. Miles Monroe, and teaches and says is that, listen, a man is supposed to leave his father and his mother and cleave to his wife. It never says that a wife is supposed to leave her father at all, because the word father means source, supplier. And so that's why when a father walks his daughter down the aisle, he hands her hand from his source and put her hand in a new source. And so now, what source of her father look like? If a daughter came to her father, and please don't, I'm not calling wives daughters to fathers, but if a daughter came to her father and said, Daddy, my finger hurt, he not gonna say it don't hurt that bad. You ain't get your finger scratched. He's going to address her feeling, whether he kisses the boo-boo, puts ice on, he's just going to address her feeling first. And that reality never actually changes. And so when a wife brings her concern to her husband and he does not address her feeling, he addresses her lack of factual information, that's where you have a problem. And I say that because that resonates with men. So if you say, for example, when you talk to this woman, I feel like you disrespected me. And he says, I'm not disrespecting you. Men do a lot of mansplaining, learn to cut out, because it does not work. I'm not disrespecting you when I talk to her because X, Y, Z. We actually never got to what you just said. What you said is, I feel disrespected. I didn't say I am disrespected. I feel disrespected. Address how I feel. The first thing a man is supposed to ask when his woman says that is why. What makes you feel disrespected? And then let her talk, and she will tell you what part of this makes her feel, if she can, makes her feel disrespected. And that is the part that we should be addressing. And a lot of us don't do that. We try to fight you with what we believe to be facts. And that is where we make our greatest error, because real talk, y'all don't care about facts. Y'all really don't care. You care about how you feel, and how you feel is the fact. Yeah. And that is
I ain't got my tambourine down.
That is hard for us to get with. Yeah. Because how you feel may not be what my intent was.
It's not the fact.
And that doesn't matter.
No, that does not matter.
It
Thank
doesn't
you.
matter. Oh, that's so hard though.
So you said to bring back
Oh,
for
James
you.
said that.
He said what?
Ladies, you date a man that does not have an older man mentor at your own peril. Every male that is gonna date, marry, should have an older male that is mentoring him or her, that is mentoring him, because we have never seen what we are trying to do. You need a male, you need a mentor. You need several of them.
Agreed.
I took a note that I can't even read my writing. You told me to remind you, James, of who is going to recognize the something person's need.
I think it was
She said, "Who's going to recognize the needs of the young lady, of the other person?" To admit this, I do. I hate to admit this, but men, it is our responsibility to recognize, and I'm trying to choose my words very carefully. It's our responsibility to recognize what she's going through. That is difficult. The Bible tells us to dwell together with our wives according to knowledge. And knowledge is truthful information. And one of the most misunderstood creatures on the planet is women. And that is because we don't spend time getting the information we need to relate to you on this ship.
You know,
want to, though.
But that's the thing I've always said, as far as men are concerned, is that we pay attention to women enough to get sex.
To get them.
To get sex or to get them, you know. And it's, you can, if you look for like relationship books for men, if you go, no, I'm about to tell you. If you go on like Amazon, right, and you put in like relationship books for men, the vast majority of them would be how to better women, how to get women, how to do whatever. And so, we can, most men, figure out how to, get to a point where, either you have sex with them or you can date them or you could, or whatever. But then most of our deep understanding stops there. We don't pay enough attention, or we don't empathize enough with them to really, understand, certain things, emotional things that they may go through or whatever. And the one thing that I realized after a while of talking to women is that a lot of the things that women really want that would solve a lot of problems for men is if men did this one thing: clarity.
Yes, I think I agree with that.
That is one of the biggest things. If you just offered clarity, whether the clarity be you just want to have sex, or you want to get married, or you just want to do this, or what direction the relationship is going through, or whatever. A lot of the questions, I would say probably 70% of the questions that I get from women is, what are men thinking? If men would do that one thing, it would stop a lot of issues that we have. And the one thing that I have noticed, like in my dating life, is that women are crazy, by my definition, during the time that I am indecisive, during the times that I am not clear. Once I become clear, the crazy goes away. Because what they're doing is they're trying to figure out what is in my head, what it is that I am doing, because they feel a certain way. They have an idea. They've already had their clarity. And so now they're trying to figure out what I'm doing. And so they're doing all of these things, trying to figure out what I'm thinking. And that is the one thing I would say. It would stop a lot of issues for men. It won't probably stop everything, but if men just offered clarity on a more regular basis, it would make a life with women a little bit easier for us.
I think for me, some of the web of questions come in when I don't get the clarity. So then comes the web of trying to get to the clarity with all these different questions. But I know you were about to say something, James. What were you going to say?
So I'm a relationship coach that has a relationship coach. And because I believe in coaching. My coach shared with me, don't interrogate. And you're asking a web of questions. You know why you're doing that? Because you know we don't know the answer. You know. Y'all know we don't know. When you get to about question number 3,
No, I be thinking you lying. That's why I keep asking. I think you know. No, we know you know. No, this answer, no, I
You
know.
just don't want to give me the
You
answer.
know why she's smiling. No, I'm just playing.
You ain't playing.
When you get to about question number 3 and we give you the same answer in different words, you be like, okay, he ain't gonna give me this. Let me try 4th and 5th way. Often, what I believe men need to be able to say is, and you in your mandom to say, I don't know, but I will find out. I don't know. So here are a couple things. Here are a couple suggestions that I have for every male. Every male. Number 1, you need to take a leadership course. You need to take a course on leadership, period. Because if you are the head of a household, you are leading. And how to lead, what type of leadership style you have, how you facilitate discussions, and all of those types of things are incredibly important. And many of us have never seen leadership, out leadership, haven't played on a team, don't know what teamwork looks like. And then on the flip side of that, I also think that ladies need to take a leadership course as well. Because when a certain leadership style when you're being approached with a certain leadership style, and you too are being asked to lead in areas, we have to know what we're doing. You guys know that I'm a preacher by trade. I study the Bible like my life depends on it, and that's where I go to get a lot of relationship information and things like that. Relationships don't fail for lack of love. They don't fail for lack of trying. They fail for lack of knowledge. They fail for lack of understanding. And then they fail for lack of wisdom. Now, knowledge itself is information based on truth, is original designed information. So basically what that means is if you go and pull out a new computer out of a box, the first thing you're going to get is the manufacturer's instructions. And that means that the manufacturer is giving you the original design of this computer, and that is the way you use it. So oftentimes we don't have the knowledge that we need to do this. We don't understand the information that we're being given, and we don't know how to apply that information. Relationships do not fail. There are people at the courthouse getting divorced right now who, if you ask them, do you love this man? She will say yes. You ask her, do you love this woman? He will say yes. They do not fail for lack of love. They fail for lack of knowledge. They fail for lack of understanding, and they fail for lack of wisdom. So if you can get books on the opposite sex, so if men can get books on women and women can get books on men, then you can start to see if my expectation of your response is reasonable.
James, I have an issue.
Sure.
I'm here.
She said that so second
Yeah,
grade,
she
like,
just came in there. She was like, okay, excuse me.
Excuse me.
Like,
I don't know one man that I've ever who's gonna go get a book.
You don't know
where
women
he's not gonna go get a book. You two, yes.
Shoot.
But
I'm about to say,
I know
I
so
feel
many.
one.
Steve's on Facebook. My Facebook people are watching men. Tell me if you're gonna go read a book on your relationship. I don't. Outside of them, I find them though, because they always sitting here on the panel. But in this world out here, once I walk out on Roosevelt,
It's over, right?
I know the books are out there. I don't tend to find a man who's going to sit and read a book on how to be better in a relationship. What's another alternative? Because I just don't know the man that's going to go get this book.
This is the one thing that I've always thought. A lot of being in like management, you go through a lot of leadership courses or classes and all that thing. And one of the things that I was able to make a correlation is that basically it's about people. Leadership is about how to interact with people. Your relationship, the other person in the relationship is a person. And so a lot of the things that you can take from a leadership course on how to deal with people, you can apply to your relationships.
Yes.
The issue only becomes managing your emotions. And once people are able to manage their emotions, they can just apply regular life things. There's tons of people who are listening to this thing right now who are in management, who have gone through the same leadership courses and did all of these things, that can just apply that same thing to their relationship. But because they don't manage their emotions properly, they don't have the forethought to do it. And so it's not as if you have to necessarily, I mean, it does a lot of good to go study. But if you're looking for an alternative to, reading a book, there's a lot of things in your regular life. If you are a salesperson, a lot of books that I've applied to relationships and theories of whatever has been books on sales, it's a lot of things that you can do that people are doing every single day in their jobs, in their businesses, and all of this thing. As far as dealing with the public, you can use all of these tools for your relationship.
So let me address something she said about men don't read.
Wait, did I say that? No.
No,
Rewind.
No, what she said was they're not going to go get a book to
on their
better
relationship.
They not.
But I understand what O'Kara is saying. He's saying if you read a book about leadership, apply that to your relationship. To me, that makes sense. But I'm not saying men don't read. Oh no, I didn't say that. I know they read.
So let me restate that. You said men are not going to read a book about relationships.
Yes.
Let me say this. Successful people know that success comes from applied knowledge. If you're trying to be successful at fixing cars, you're going to go get information. You're going to understand the information, and you're going to apply the information that you just received. But I do believe you are right. People don't realize the importance of getting information about relationships. And I'll give you a prime example. And this is how our government is set up. And I'm going to give credit to Dr. Miles Monroe. He used to talk about this a lot in his videos. My son is 16 years old. He just got his driver's license. Before this boy got his driver's license, he took a course. He read a book, he took a test, then they put him on the road for a little bit with a coach. Then they said, you got to drive with a parent. And then you had to do 10 hours at night during the darkest hours. And then they made him go take another test. And then they gave him a license. All of these things you have to do before you are given permission to get out on the road and drive, before you're given a license to drive. But when you want to go get a license to get married, you just tell them your age, and that's not my cousin. And then they give you a license to get married. They do not ask you for the same amount of rigor, the same amount of learning that you need, that they ask you for to drive on the road. And now you're now in a institution that has a rate of failure of 50%. So basically what you're saying is 1 out of 2 people don't get information, and they don't apply the information that they receive. And that is true. Because relationships don't fail for lack of love. Somebody added work. They fail for lack of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and work. I actually don't say work because people work hard, but they might work wrong.
And work at the wrong thing.
Yeah, they work, people work hard. Yeah. If you ask the person getting a divorce, did you work hard in your relationship? I guarantee you they will say yes. Yeah. You're working without information. Yeah.
What is the work?
What's the point?
Yeah. What is the work? Yeah. And that's what I always say, but once again, that's why I think it's important that I know I am like the first person in line to switch the preachings of you get to 60 years through the struggle, through all the crap. We tend to push that message far, and that's teaching people what the work is. Like learn love languages, learn personalities. Like what Akira said, if we just put personality training in school, let's take out whatever random thing that we never use again in school and put in personality training, that would stop bullying. That would eliminate all kinds of things in our lives, because now you're understanding that, okay, Wanda has an S personality, and if I speak to her in this way, that's going to hurt her feelings, but he's a D. He can take this, and I can tell him this, and he has tougher skin. And it's okay that what a D needs is separate from what a S needs, not wants. And we get judgmental because we don't understand that there are certain personalities that need certain things. And with that comes your mate. Your mate has a different makeup of personality than you. But we don't learn these things until after we have screwed up.
Steezo John said, and please check out Steezo Radio. He's also a friend of our show. He says, can the guy speak to the regular everyday man that's not going to go search out relationship advice from books? What is another tool? Can we give them another tool? Because I somehow
we are telling them, go see James. You go talk to somebody, but they don't want to do it. That's the whole point. They don't want to do it because if you said coming out, right? I want that car. They gonna Google it. They gonna find out how many horsepower, where it was made, when it's releasing. Is it gonna be at the auto show this year? I'm gonna go up there and make sure I got the right shoes on so I can walk around. I got money for parking. It's gonna be preparation because that's what they want. And so, Steezo, honey, if that's what they want, that is the everyday man will do. He will go and get what he wants.
I'll say something as far as to my man. Something he said earlier. If you don't want to, do all of the reading or whatever, the first thing you could do is just be in with yourself. And then that way you can, more leeway with the person. But start asking why. If you don't want to do all the reading, you can start with asking your woman why. You can start with asking, why does she feel this way? Stop jumping to conclusions. Stop just trying to apply whatever logic you want on her emotion. Start asking why she has the emotion.
To me, that would be huge if I was ever asked that question.
Try to find out about her. If you don't want to read a book, do that. Just find out about her. Find out about, what does she fear? Asking her those type of questions. And then, take the information that you learn and apply it. That's what I would say start. But you have to be willing to do something outside of just, unconsciously just living and just thinking that because it should be okay. You have to make some sort of effort. And if the effort don't want to be reading, if you don't want it to be reading, then just start asking why. Just start to, go a little bit, deeper than just the surface of, what makes her laugh and this, that, and the other, get into more about, who she is and what she's afraid of and ask her why.
I sat here and I thought about this, and I was going to back off my position a little bit, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and why I can't. I work for Circle Urban Ministries on the west side of Chicago. We deal with about 150 to 200 youth, many of which are young men on a day-to-day basis with no fathers at home, with single moms trying her best to do what needs to be done. And these young men are the future fathers of other young men and women. And how do you step into a role to lead and you've never seen it done before? We need information. I probably won't get any calls from men now, but let me just tell y'all honestly, we are letting our homes down. We are letting our homes down. Honestly. And we are stepping in the roles we're not qualified for, and we are winging it. And it is not working. Half of the relationships end in divorce. Half of first marriages end in divorce. The rate is higher for second marriages, which means 1 out of every 2 children are growing up in homes without fathers, without 2 parents in the house. It's time out for, I'm not going to go get a book. I don't care how you get the information. YouTube, Google, book, Sky Mail, Air Mail. I don't care how you get the information, but the point is, get the information that is necessary to lead your home effectively.
Listen to IntellectualRadio.com.
Hey man, yeah, listen to
You don't have to read
IntellectualRadio.com.
nothing.
Tune in every Sunday 2 to 4.
There's so many shows here. You can tune in to more than just that one. So, but yeah, definitely use that one. So, you've been listening to IntellectualRadio.com, the He Says, She Says show. So, we have another topic, and we're winding down on time. So, I'd like to bring it up: how to unlock the heart of a man.
Yes. Now we talking.
Like, is this popcorn?
We need popcorn. How to unlock the heart of man on
yes.
IntellectualRadio.com.
Praise the Lord. How to unlock the feminine energy. We love to see you smile. We love to hear. What you just did. No, I'm serious. We love the sensualness. Believe it or not, men, and help me out, chime in on Facebook. We love romance. A lot of women don't know men like romance. We love.
Do they?
We love romance.
They do.
What's romance look like for a man?
If we walk in the house, see you in some stilettos and a nice little gown and some candles, man, boy. We love romance.
Okay, Kara, you agree? You love romance?
Yeah. So
who knew?
this is what I always say, and it goes to his point of the feminine energy. When I was, there will always be, like, let's say a certain person. I would always just kind of, like, every time I would see him, I would just act happy to see him. I mean, I would be happy to see him because I liked him, whatever. So I would scream his name, across wherever we was. So I worked in warehouses or whatever. So I would scream his name or whatever. So it got to the point that every time he would see me, he would smile before I even said his name, right? And so, so what I would always tell friends of mine, I would say, listen, you wouldn't even really have to call men if, like, let's say if he's interested in you, he calls you, you act happy to see him. Every time he sees you, you act happy to see him. You smile, you say, oh, this, that, and the other, because of the fact that that's what we love. It's kind of like if I walk into the room and my little girl runs up to me and says, Daddy, this, that. People remember the way you make them feel. And so as a woman, if you make a man feel like he is the man because you are happy to see him, because you're smiling when you see him, or he can hear the smile in your voice, that is like a positive reinforcement of his attention that he's given to you. Call him a lot, because he'll be calling you, because he'll be checking on you.
He'll move mountains.
And so that is the one thing. And so a lot of times there are people who feel like, why is that necessary? Why is that this? Why is that that? It is necessary to you want and to have the type of relationship and to be treated like you want. There is some effort that has to be made in order to make things right on both people's parts. And so, it sounds really simple, but it's really, really effective. And one of the things, and the other thing I would also say is that things comes a feeling of acceptance.
Yeah.
And deep down inside, everybody, especially men, want to be accepted. And they want to be, and so if you accept him, if you genuinely accept him, and he realizes that you do that, that is how he opens up to you. Because he's going to feel like it's a no judgment zone. Bingo. And I'll tell you this, is that men, they don't necessarily want to talk to everybody, but they really do want to talk to their woman.
Yes.
And so, and if you give him the platform to do that, that is how you open up his heart.
Come on. Come on. Hey, listen. Men love approval. When you give men disapproving messages, you close his heart. And ladies, you only have to close a man's heart 2 to 3 times before may be years before he opens it back up to you. years. And this is not to say women need to bend. This is just how men are designed. We don't like giving off feminine energy. And to open up our heart to you is asking us to put our masculine energy aside for a second and be vulnerable with you. We're vulnerable with you. If you don't treat that like it is sacred, we no longer trust you. When a man says he does not trust a woman, it's not necessarily because she went and cheated or she did that. What he's saying is, I don't trust you to be vulnerable with you, because this is not a no judgment zone. I want to open up the heart of a man. When a man is vulnerable with you, don't you ever in your life take that information and use it against him.
Say that one more time for the people who didn't hear it.
The back row.
No,
The one who ran to the bathroom and went and got a snack.
That is the truth.
When a man is vulnerable with you, don't ever take the information that he gave you in his vulnerability or weakness. It should never come up again in an argument or be used against him, because he will not trust you again. He won't, because you have now proven that he is untrustworthy. Verse 31, it says, the heart of her king doth safely trust in her, which means he can give you his heart safely. And I can tell you now, almost 8 to 9 out of 10 men are in relationships where their women do not safely have their hearts. They don't want to give it. They're guarding their heart like their life depends on it, because it is not safe. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing, to get people to see how men really think. Because if you know how men really thought, a lot of the smaller arguments that we have, we won't even have. If men knew how women really thought, a lot of the small arguments we have, we wouldn't have. If you want to open up a man's heart, let me tell you what men love. We are visual creatures by nature. Listen, we are visual creatures by nature. So when you look good, when we come through the door, you look good, you're smiling, you have your feminine energy, you can get a man to stop a bullet for you. I'm saying we're not that difficult to understand. And when we say look good, and this is probably a topic for another discussion, we don't mean a bunch of makeup and all of that. We don't. You do that for your girls. We really don't like that. That's not our thing. So I'm gonna pause here. The doors of the church are now open.
I'm sitting around collection plate too. No, I'm joking. So you're listening to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com, and we have been talking about all things he's and she's think about, trying to work on. It really is what you said is really the exact concept I had with the show, is what is he thinking? And that became the concept of wanting to know. He said, she said, like, to have this dialogue where we hear how each other is thinking and accept it and receive it. I think sometimes, a lot of times we'll say, no, it's not, because we know men that don't think that way, or no, but honestly, you speak for the majority. It's to honestly hear this side, this opinion, and take it in and take what we need from it. So I appreciate everybody who chimes in on Facebook. Good question, Caesar. What was Caesar's question? Which is easier to repair, a broken man or a broken woman when it comes to building a relationship?
A broken woman. Easily. It is very difficult to repair a broken man. He will never first of all, he'll never let you know he's broken. Second of all, if he does let you know he's broken, you're not getting in to do the work, to do the repair. But a woman she will open up and tell you that she is broken and how to fix it. We don't do that, because if to break a man, it means that he was vulnerable, and you use that information wrongly, and so he's not going to be vulnerable again. And to repair something, you must open it up. Not going to get him to open. So it's much easier to repair a woman who is broken than a man who is broken.
I totally agree with that.
I agree with that as well.
Totally.
I agree with that as well.
Totally.
I want to go back to, and this may go back into the topic we were talking about, but I still wanted the answer of feminine energy. I don't think some women recognize when they're operating out of masculine energy. So what is the counterpart to if they in a discussion with their mate and are coming at him with masculine energy, which is not shutting him down, but making him go to silence, because I'm trying to figure out what does that look like? Because I don't know if we really know, myself included, if I'm operating out of masculine, because it sounds just like the way I should be operating, because that's how I know how to do it, what I've seen my mother do, probably, maybe, or what I just know how to do. So what is the opposite of that? What does that look like?
Can I test and see if I know?
Yes, give us some
I want to
feminine
think what I think, and then you tell me right or wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Okay, I think the difference is versus us doing what, like he said, masculine is direct. What you was doing, whoa, 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 versus a woman can come and I think we have a disconnect as women, because this is what we deem as coddling and watering it down, and that's equal feminine. And I think that's why we're having a disconnect, because we're attaching negativity to the feminine trait. But the feminine way to do would be what, like my suggestion was before, which things that I've done before. Let's go out to dinner. And while we're out at dinner, I'm softly talking. The music is nice, but I'm asking you now, like in the deepest, look in my eyes. I'm hurting right now, and your actions made me feel such and such. And it's more of I'm connecting with him about my emotions and not being asking for a logical thing about his actions. And that's what I deemed that I thought I was doing right.
What do you say, James?
Feminine energy is empathy. Feminine energy is compassion. Feminine energy is soft. It is soothing. It is caring. It is gentle. It is meek. That is feminine energy. And I'm not saying women have to be that 100% of the time, because the workforce doesn't even allow for some of that.
Mm-hmm.
But that is feminine energy. And so if you exit empathy for the next person, you are entering masculine energy. So if you ask your man a question and you really don't care what he's going through in that instance that led you all to this place, or that led him to do whatever he did that hurt your feelings, you have left feminine energy, you are into masculine energy. Because masculine energy does not care. Energy is straight to the point. Masculine energy is about achieving the goal, achieving the objective. And so if your line of questions are about achieving the objective, you've left feminine energy and entered masculine energy. Feminine energy, and both men and women display feminine and masculine. Feminine energy is I care about what you're going through and what happened. Because and here's how you can decide, here's how you can decipher it. If your son did something to upset you, and your son is hurting also, most mothers wouldn't go after their son and be like, but you said and you did and you did. She's gonna want to know, baby, what's wrong? What happened? So she is staying within feminine energy, and it will open her son up. Women need to be the mother but the energy is what I'm talking about. Masculine energy goes to, I need you to get this information, because after you get this information, we can be okay.
Okay, so now I see why we have a disconnect as women, because that explanation sounded like to me that I really can never ask what I want to ask, because I'm crossing over. Because now let's use the real life scenarios that these conversations will come up with. Infidelity, disrespect, things like that. And I'm supposed to say,
no,
what are you going through?
Well, what was wrong, boo-boo? You know what I mean? So you see what I'm saying? So it's like kind of like what? So give us like how, if the situation was bad, how do we stay in our realm? Because and ask that and stay within our place.
Who said you need to stay within your realm when the situation is like that? I never said that. When the situation is like, when you suspect infidelity, the point, then you need to enter masculine energy.
So that's why we open the show with saying what means as far as what is the difficult time.
I'll
because
give you
what
a-
dif- yeah, give
so
us
let's go regular everyday
yeah, let's
scenario.
do it every day.
Your man told you he would be home at 5 o'clock. 5, he walks through the door and he didn't call. You have a choice. You can go feminine energy or you can go masculine energy. Masculine energy is, you couldn't call? Why wouldn't you call? You didn't think I was waiting? Feminine energy is, hey baby, you're home late. What happened?
Exactly.
Oh, I wouldn't even ask that question. To me, that seems, I mean, well, maybe that's why I think, because to me, some of those things are so minor that I think life is so much more important than to be concerned about he came home, and that wouldn't be a big issue for me.
Because
So
that's
maybe
not your
why.
insecurity.
Okay.
That's not, but some people would be like,
Okay.
at 5:04,
Why
they
is
like,
not here?
why he not here?
Okay. So
Yeah.
those,
So-
okay.
So
So
let's
those-
go into another let's think of another everyday example. So you and your man are doing well, and the phone beeps, pling, closes it up, and you like, you got a choice. You're curious. You have a choice. Feminine energy, masculine energy. One choice could be, who was that? Well, another choice would be, hey babe, are you gonna get that? That might be important. That might be work. Cares about what might be important to the other. The other one cares about what's important to me. Because the first one is, you're not gonna get that. I want to know who's on the phone. You know what? That could be work. It might be important to you. I know you probably don't want to get that because we're sitting here having a good time, but it's okay. Go ahead. Big difference. Big difference. One will cause openness, and the other one will cause closeness. And now, guess what? Men too are already taught to enter their feminine energy in order to communicate with you. To a woman, who was that? You're not gonna get that? She's gonna close up too. But men often are taught to say, "Hey, babe, you know what? Your phone just beeped. It's okay. It's all right to get."
They're taught
food.
to say that.
That's how we have to. We can't interact with you in aggressive masculine energy most of the time. You will shut completely down. You will shut completely down. If we came at you with that type of energy, you guys shut down.
I think, or seems like from my limited experience, but men come at their masculine energy and expect, and we answer. I mean, we respond to that right away. At least that's how I feel. Like, you come to me like that, I'm going to answer. Because you ask me directly, I'm going to answer directly. It's not going to be I don't get a lot of, you can get that if you like. I don't get that.
So,
I don't get that.
So the man will come at you like, who was that?
Yes.
Why you ain't picked that
if
up?
They feel like that,
And
because
I'm
I feel
mad,
like if it's an issue, it's not an issue. And I think if it's an issue, nobody's coming, man or female, with the so. And then I think your second scenario, like for instance, let's say if that was the instance where the phone, I guarantee you every man would still say, yeah, she trying to be slick. You just trying to check and see who that was. You don't really care. That was the job. I really don't think it would be received. I think it's still back to a maturity level with all of this as far as that. And so let's make that clear, because you could do this, but if you with someone that is immature, you're going to have more of these issues than others, because that very same sweet way of asking, oh, is that okay with that? Could have been your job. You're going to be like, I know it's my job. I saw it. It's my phone. I just turned it down. I flipped it over. I saw it on call ID. It said job. That's like, to me,
it sounds like you're just being
but you know what?
slick.
And that's the interesting point to your point, is that think that in their head, exactly what you said. Well, he's still going to think that, and so they bypass the feminine energy and just go to the masculine energy. And what we don't realize is that you put a little something in an account, and how our impression of you become. And so while you may not think that overall it's necessary, because the end result is that he thinks that you're trying to be slick, it still gives him a certain impression of you. It still, affects how he view you. It still affects a lot of other things in a different situation may come up or whatever. It still has an effect. And so it is still something that we probably should do. And so, but we think that, well, the outcome or the result may not be different, but it does have an effect.
So Farrah on Facebook says, ask a different question. Give a different example. An issue concerning bills, not an insecurity question. So I think what she's saying is, what about when you need to get an answer? You need to get straight to the point. So, for example, I'll use, did you pay the mortgage? I think she's asking, should the question be, honey, did you pay the mortgage this month?
Is everything okay?
Is everything okay? Well, now.
Do you have that $1,200?
Did you?
So no, but here's
with no stilettos. Did you?
Here's the honest answer to that. A history of paying the mortgage. If he has a history of paying the mortgage, and month one the mortgage is late, and you got a letter from the bank saying the mortgage is late. Honey, did you pay the mortgage, or why didn't you pay the mortgage? Is masculine energy. Hey, babe, what's going on?
I love when you do that.
Hey, babe.
The cosign O'Kara is the thumb.
Is everything okay? Because you the mortgage on time. So what's going on? Is there something we need to talk about? That's feminine energy. Or you could say, why you ain't pay the mortgage this month?
Or why come it couldn't be? Look, I'm being devil's advocate right now. Okay.
I know where you going.
So why come it couldn't be right before the letter came, honey? We need to talk. Why he didn't come and with a little bit of his feminine, have a thing. You know, why I have to be on me once I find out it's late. Look,
3 words.
Can I say? Go ahead.
It's not safe.
It's not safe. No. So when does a man feel safe? What if I've already, like, I'm your wife, I've been here with you, I'm trusting you, we talking, we doing all of this, and now we gonna pick it's not safe?
All right, so. And
I'm supposed to look at this and come in feminine after I'm fearful, because now I see this letter, I'm afraid.
Okay.
So the fear is there. So I kick into masculinity because of my fear. What's going on? You ain't paid the rent.
And you know what?
That sounds like a real story.
My reply is, in the situation that he was speaking of, the first month, we always like to focus on what somebody else is doing, or what somebody else didn't do, or, well, you didn't do this, or whatever. The reality is that, look, in yourself, be occupied or be concerned with how you treat situations. You know, why he didn't come to you and say that he wasn't going to, that has no bearing on what you do as a person. We cannot continue to let other people's actions affect ours, because then that means we have no control over ourselves. Just roll with it and end up on the street. Nobody is saying roll with it. What I'm saying is that just because he didn't come to you and say that he's scared about, or that he, you know, I'm not going to be able to do it, that don't mean you go out of your feminine energy. That just means you come in with the same feminine energy you would if he had told you.
And say, well, I'm leaving you. You can't afford the rent. Goodbye.
I'm gonna have to kind of stop. I'm sorry. We're gonna leave on that feminine energy.
We are now homeless. You have not paid the mortgage, but I understand. I understand. I love this. If you had told me earlier, Mama, keep some extra sock, you should have hollered at your girl.
It is only month one.
But I still, but it doesn't matter. Come on, I can help you. I got you. Mama got a little something.
I love the conversation. Thank you all. You've been listening. He said, she said on IntellectualRadio.com. How can people reach you all? James, they need you. How can they reach you?
You can reach me at jamesborche.com, or I'm going to give you my cell phone number, 708-462-2280. You can call me 708-462-2280, and we can talk, or info@jamesborche.com. Did you see me wonder, like, what's my cell phone number?
Yeah. O'Kara.
Must be a minister. You just gave your cell phone out
to the public, to the world. He's loving, coming from a place of love.
Everybody,
come to me.
You can find me on Facebook, O'Kara Hollis, O'Kara H. Not a lot of people with that name, so it won't be. I'm the guy with the big smile on his face, and you could O'Kara H on all the other ones too, Instagram, Twitter, I just signed up
Spit
for
it
that
out.
little thing. I can't remember what it is. What's the other little thing that people?
we can't follow what you
Right.
find.
Valencia Jackson on Facebook. I'm gonna get with y'all on Instagram soon. I'm gonna come on into whatever century that is. I'm gonna grow up.
Guys, I want you to check out our sponsors, Bowie Sweets Treats, 630-930-2326. I want you to go to Giovanna Jolie at 11614 South Marshfield. I want you to try out MJ Liquors, a black-owned liquor store. Black young girl owns it, 9914 West Roosevelt Road. Come out to room 183, November 22nd. We're going to do what we normally do, our He Said, She Said. We're going to do it live. They're at 4167 183rd Street in Country Club Hills. I want to thank our dear super producer, Earl the Other Winfrey, for giving us this platform to educate each other and listen for other shows. We got Jaw Jacking coming up at 5. We have Side Streets and Intersections and Break Free. Who else? I missed Supreme Diva tonight. So just keep listening to IntellectualRadio.com. I appreciate you, and I love to see you come back here, the same place, same time. We're going to be here at 2 o'clock next Sunday. See you again. Thank you, Facebook. Everybody that chimed in, I appreciate you guys. I love when you come in the top. Thank you. See you next week, 2 o'clock.
We run together fun. There's a one time. Sweet